aunt, you also were walking down, I think going to a club with your goth friends, and you walked by a car that was stopped, and you looked into the eyes of this couple, and something changed.
Well, you were trying to intimidate them.
You're trying to intimidate them into smashing their fists in cars.
Tell us what happened.
Yeah, we were all going out, and we loved to be, hey, do you see me now? And we would hang out at markets, and we just wanted to see, because our outfits were so loud, and I say that, the outfits are so loud, saying, you know, do you see me now? And I think that a lot of them don't realize that that's what they're doing, but, you know, coming out of it, you do. So we're on the way to this nightclub, and I remember they were stopped at a red light, and I went up to charge at the car and, like, freaking them out, and they were just calm. And I don't know, it was a look about them in their face. I can't describe it. It was total peace. It was something about it. And it stopped me short. I was just like, and then I was like, oh, you know, and I called them something. Which I won't repeat, and then you kept on going. But it was funny how that second of facing somebody's eyes, and there was something I can't describe. It was just something, and I felt like afterwards that maybe that they had prayed for me, maybe they were a Christian. It was something about their countenance that I had not recognized before.
It was something spiritual,
obviously. Yes, it was something spiritual.
And you know, I think, I mean, I don't want to use one of my favorite movies of all time right now, Avatar, by James Cameron, that I just saw with 1,000 boys in the crowd. But I remember the point where the famous line of, I see you.
Yeah.
And I think that was the key. As much as, you know, I think in the movie that was really, you know, important message, but for you, I think that couple saw you. And I think that's what everybody needs. I think that's what you need. I think the subculture of goth is like, I will be offensive and dark and death, but really, I want you to see and know me. And I think that was the place where, you know, everybody is longing for that. That you don't look on, like, go beyond the exterior, but really look at my heart, look at my brokenness, and love me for who I am. I think that's at the core.
And that's what, when I came to Christ, that was so overwhelming to me. And I was absolutely stopped in my tracks that God could love me, knowing all the wicked places, all the evil, everything that I'd ever done. I mean, things I could never repeat, things that I would never want to share, because it is too dark, and I don't want to bring glory to that. But that He saw me in the midst of all of that and said, even while you were dead in your sins, did I choose you. And that really blew me away, because it was an absolute peace and a knowing that He accepted me just where I was.
And God allowed you to get to the point of actually facing a judge for one of your crimes. And that's when you finally opened up your heart to Him. Tell us a little bit about that.
I had, I was spiraling out of control, and I was that kind of kid who, it's either all or nothing, right? I guess that's really who I am today. And I couldn't stop the stealing, the crime, the things that I was involved in with the people. And I ended up before a judge, and some of my other friends weren't. And they run. If you're caught, they run. They don't want to be taken down too. And I knew that I had come to the place, because I'd been arrested more than once, that I was going to prison. I mean, I absolutely knew that I was going to prison. And I was sitting there thinking, I was looking around at everyone else who was there awaiting their own trial and things like that, because they have everyone in the courtroom, and I think it's to sort of shame you, I guess. And realizing that I was not in traffic court, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how many hours would I last in a prison with the people that are in prison, you know, for the type of personality that I was. And I remember saying in my heart, I said, God, if you're real, get me out of this, get me out of this. And if you're real, I'll serve you. I mean, I started bargaining with my life. I mean, and because I knew I knew I'd come to the end. And before many times close calls, but I wasn't there yet to go, well, I'm going to surrender everything now. And the judge kind of looked at me, and I knew he was going to throw the book at me. And it was like the longest time, and I started to cry. And this is somebody who didn't cry. And I think he had just compassion for me. And I wasn't faking it. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. Because I thought, if I go to prison, I will kill myself. And I knew it. I could not stand a day in the prison system with all the things that we know that happen in women's prisons at that time, or even today. And he said, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm going to let you off on probation. I was just like, oh my goodness, thank you. And that was amazing. And I kept my word, though. I kept my word to the Lord. I went, and I was up north, a couple of states away from my auntie, and I went and I told Anna Marina, and I said, I need that Jesus. I want you to pray for me, you know. And she prayed, and I felt something leave. I mean, some people don't believe that. I felt an evil presence leave me as I accepted Christ, and I just couldn't stop weeping. I couldn't stop crying, and I think it was such a years of release, years of all this building up, just being released in that moment. Yeah, and it's still a progress though. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but you are in Canada now, so how did you get here?
You're not in Australia anymore there.
I was on a boat paddling across the water. I swam. No, I after all of that happened, I prayed and I said, God, I need to go and start all over again where no one knows me, because I had such a track record and I'd left such a train wreck behind that I wanted to start over again. And so long story short, I came to Canada and called one of the ministries that I heard about in Canada, and because I didn't know what a Christian was. I didn't even know what Christian music was. I had no idea that you had to go to church or anything like that, right? And the gal at the other end of the phone from this ministry said, well, do you have anyone to pick you up at the airport? I said, no. And I had brought a girlfriend of mine with me and dragged her, you're coming with me. And we got off the plane, and she met us at the airport. And she took us to church, and that everything happened from there. I mean, I loved church. It made sense to me. I loved the worship and going from really satanic music, I mean, really evil music, to la, but it wasn't kind of like that kind of frilly. It was just, it just felt, I had such joy. I was like, wow, this is so amazing. And because God's presence is so real, and so I really. Yeah, I don't know. That's how I got out.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I was going to say, you're a pastor's wife.
Yeah.
Now, goth girl to pastor's wife.
Get out of town. No, are you serious? Your friends would probably be back in Australia going, are you kidding me?
Exactly. So how did you meet your husband?
I met him in BC. I met him through the church that I went to. And here's the guy that was always up the front, and people would give him words, and I'm thinking, who is this guy? Like, get out of the way, I need a word too from God. And he's from Germany. We were married there, but we met, and here's this guy that, look at that sweetheart, there he is. Oh. And they're over there too, my guys. And he was the first man that, I have to say, and I'm going to get teary, the first man never to make a move on me, the first man that was so gentle, and I thought, oh, he'd be a good father. And I'm not thinking for myself, let's get married. I'm thinking, because I'm thinking no one would want to take me on because, the type of personality and all the baggage that I had, and he did, and so it was actually from first meeting him to when we got married, it was about 6.5 months. Wow. Whirlwind. Wow. I told you it's all or nothing.
Exactly.